Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of the Positively Mebane Update. For this episode, we will focus on items discussed during the October 2nd City Council meeting. But first, the Destination Downtown Mebane's 2023 Autumn Fest event took place last weekend, the first weekend in October, and attracted many residents and people from neighboring towns. Mayor Hooks and Chris, did you happen to go to the event, and what were your thoughts?
Great event attended by a lot of people, and congratulations to the Destination Downtown on having a great event, and look forward to next year.
Was a spectacular day. It's one of my favorite events in the fall. I always have a challenge of trying to find a birthday present for my mother from some of the artists that come. And I was successful once again this year. And we just had a party for her yesterday, and she was saying, I don't know where you get these special little things every year. And my secret has always been the Autumn Fest. So yeah, great day.
I agree. I thought they had a really great turnout, and they had a bunch of different vendor fair tents that showed up with a wide-ranging thing of crafts, from paintings to different reefs that were created. So I thought it was a really good turnout. So now we're going to dive into some of the popular docket items that were discussed during the October City Council meeting. And one of them is going to be from the Deep River Partners, who were requesting approval to rezone 4 properties in order to develop 90 townhomes. And so I'm going to let our city manager, Chris, talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Kelly. Deep River Partners is in the Triad and has been in business for many years, doing a lot of commercial work. So this is the first big project that had 5 commercial lots approved alongside of Mebane Oaks Road, down at the corner of Mebane Oaks and Old Hillsboro. This property totaled about 27 acres. The front part, as I said, was rezoned for commercial lots. And then the back was a low-density residential townhome project that was approved. It'll have multiple 2 and multifamily townhome units back there. The property is in the Alamance County side of Mebane and the Mebane extraterritorial jurisdiction. You hear a lot of people say the ETJ. So that's an area outside of the city that has Mebane zoning. The applicant will have to petition for annexation as they start doing their project in order to get the city water and sewer. They have a contract to purchase it. Most of these projects, they have a contract, and then after the project is approved is when the applicant then moves forward and purchases the property. That's pretty standard on most of our commercial or real estate or residential projects in town. It was a site-specific plan that included a traffic impact analysis for the proposed development with the 90 townhomes with single-car garage and the 5 commercial lots. The developers are required to complete the improvements at their own expense. All of our projects for residential and commercial are that way. The developer is the one paying for the water and the sewer, building the streets, the sidewalk, storm sewer, sort of everything involved in building the project. This one's a little bit special. It's going to include a 5-foot wide sidewalk on Mebane Oaks Road. And then the internal roads will also have sidewalks and a 10-foot wide multi-use path along the property's frontage on Old Hillsboro. This will eventually tie back to the Meadows project that is just east of there.
So moving away from the rezoning of properties, another ticket item that's always very popular and residents always want to know is our street repairs. Mayor Hooks, can you tell us a little bit about the work order change that was amended during the city council meeting?
Thank you, Kelly. Allie Williams, Carmen and King, our engineering firm, proposed and we passed the city of Mebane to extend the Turner Asphalt LLC for next year that we awarded in October of 2022. This contract included repairing, patching, and resurfacing city streets. A work order change in the amount of $725,000 was requested to patch and repair and resurface an additional 2.26 miles of 20 city streets. Crack seal 0.58 miles of 7 city streets, build and resurface the recreation and museum parking lot, crack seal City Hall and the inspections department parking lots, cracks as well as patch and separately resurface 2,380 square yards of Public Works Department parking lot.
So this process is something that happens every year. You know, all of us think our street that we live on is the one that should be repaved and should be in the best shape. So it's hard for the city when you got over 60 miles of streets in town that are city streets to pick which ones get repaved every year or get work done to them. So the city hires an engineering firm that specializes in analyzing all the streets in town. They literally do an inspection on every city street and the sections of the street, and they prioritize the streets in a list so that we can know which ones are in the worst shape and which ones are in the best shape, and make sure every year that we're actually doing the work on the roads that need it the most. Sometimes they do have to concentrate in an area and skip a street if 90% of the work is being done in one section of town. You know, moving all of the equipment to the far other side of town would cost a whole lot more. But in general, every year, probably every 4 or 5 years, we reevaluate, and we're literally just working our way down the list to make sure that we're choosing the correct streets in the order which they are evaluated.
And speaking of street repairs, a little bit different or off topic, our new elevated water tank construction is set to begin on that in the next month or two. Mayor Hooks, can you tell us a little bit about the elevated water tank and how the project is actually going to end up being a little bit more expensive than it was originally projected to be?
Certainly. As you mentioned, the construction of our new elevated water tank off of 3rd Street is set to begin in the next month or two, before December, and Landmark Structure from Fort Worth, Texas, was awarded the project bid. Mebane currently has one water tank that holds 300,000 gallons, and that, in conjunction with the clear wells, supplies Mebane with our water. On August 7th, the City Council adopted a proposal to issue revenue bonds to provide funds to construct the water tank and fund related costs through Capital One. Capital One gave us a 4.46% interest rate for 20 years, and that was the best deal provided out of the multiple different financial institutions we checked with. Construction bids, however, were higher than anticipated, so the project has increased to $8,425,000. The city has been awarded grant funding for approximately $2.652 million, leaving $5.6 million left for the city to fund. Due to the time schedule the project is on, the city is moving forward with the bond order and series resolution. The Local Government Commission, or the LGC, granted approval on October 3rd for the issuance of city revenue bonds for the elevated 1 million gallon water tank. Approve it and authorize the city staff to complete the bond closing. The project is expected to be completed by July of 25, making this the second water tank for Mebane, giving us 4.3 million gallons of water storage and increasing the fire flows around town.
The grant that we got was from the federal government, part of an economic development. And then we also received $100,000 from the General Assembly in last year's budget. And we greatly appreciate those two grants to help us with the increased cost.
So as the elevated water tank is being put up to also assist as we have more and more residents and citizens moving over to Mebane, some construction is going to be going on that's going to impact our residents that we wanted to discuss, but it's also going to provide more housing options for those looking to call Mebane home. Chris, can you please let our residents know a little bit more about the Kingsdown plant construction that is going to be happening very soon?
Yes, so if you've driven by Holt Street or Washington Street or 3rd Street, you've noticed that the old Kingsdown property is being demolished. Most of it was built where one building was built and then it was added on to and added on to and added on to over the last 100 years. And then a big brick facade was just put around it all. So nobody really realizes that the way it was built, it wasn't built like one of the old textile properties in town that we're able to save. It was just all sort of put together and had a lot of structural issues and low ceilings. So that project has started. They're getting to a point at the end of October, first couple of weeks in November. They'll be closing sort of one road at a time in order to tear down the building parts that are right next to the road. So West Holt Street and 3rd Street will be closed at times. Holt Street closure will only be during business hours, the end of October, first part of November. The Holt Street northern sidewalk will remain closed. The 3rd Street and Washington Street closures will remain in place continuously until everything is taken down and everything's safe again before it reopens. The Kingsdown project, if everybody will remember, is part of the what's going to be called the District on Washington. So a new retail and apartment complex, roughly 217 units. They could also be doing some closures, closing off old gas lines and water lines and sewer lines between now and the end of October. But everybody's going to see a big difference about the middle of November before the construction starts building the new project.
So we want residents to be aware of that and to just be on the lookout for those road closures, because those roads will remain closed 24/7. So that means morning and night. So you will need to be looking for detours and other routes accessible. Along those lines, Mebane also has an exciting new initiative called the Mebane Community Fund, and that is going to focus on improving the quality of life and amenities for our citizens. Mayor Hooks, can you explain a little bit more about the Community Fund?
I can, Kelly, and thank you. It is a very exciting program. We had a citizen, Greg Payne, presented the efforts for the creation of a community fund that government and nonprofit organizations will be eligible to apply for and get grants from them. The Mebane Community Fund, as you mentioned, will focus on improving the quality of life and amenities for the citizens, continuing making Mebane positively charming. The fund will be hosted and managed by Alamance Community Foundation for physical, tangible improvements visible to the public, located outdoors or in a public building. An initial amount of $25,000 is being raised to start the funds at the ACF. And the next step is to obtain pledges from Mebane individuals and businesses to increase the fund size. And I was honored to be one of the first to donate to the fund, because I believe this will be a fantastic inclusion to our citizens and our city of Mebane in its efforts to continue to improve on the quality of life.
So those were some of the most important items that were discussed during our October City Council meeting. However, now we have some upcoming events that I just want to touch on, so that as Halloween gets closer and you're looking for activities for the kids or just for the family to enjoy, you are aware of what's going on. So first, on Friday, October 27th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Mebane Police Department and the Mebane Fire Department is partnering with the Walmart located off Mebane Oaks Road to do a Drug Take Back Day event. Drug Take Back Day aims to provide a safe, convenient, and responsible means of disposing of prescription drugs, while also educating the general public about the potential for abuse of medications. Right now, the statistics say that kids are 3 times more likely to find drugs at the home that's locked away in a cabinet that's no longer being used and abuse them. So it's very important to get rid of those and dispose of them safely. One item that they will not be taking are inhalers. So unfortunately, they will not be accepting inhalers on Friday, October 27th. The next event later on that same evening will be the chili cook-off, and that is Destination Downtown Mebane's event, the annual chili cook-off. But for the first time this year, community members will be able to enter the competition for a reasonable entry fee. In the past, only downtown businesses were able to participate and the audience got to judge. But this year, they're going to open it up to everyone. So please bring your best peppers and kidney beans and come out and have some fun. The next day will be Saturday, October 28th, and that will be our Spooktacular and Jeepers Creepers event. And that will take place in downtown Mebane from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The Spooktacular will feature costume contest awards, downtown trick-or-treating, face painting, food trucks, a magician for the kids, music, spooky stories, seasonal crafts, and more. Also new this year will be the Jeepers Creepers event. So this will feature a Halloween-themed Jeep Jamboree on 4th and Clay Street with additional festivities by downtown businesses. So if you have a Jeep, deck it out in your best Halloween attire themed, whether that's spooky or more on the cutesy side for Halloween. Decorate your Jeep and come out and be a part of the Jeep Jamboree. And we're super excited to see all the creativity that comes out.
Kelly, one more thing. Halloween in Mebane is always on the 31st. It doesn't matter if it's a school night or a Sunday. Mebane's long tradition is Halloween is on Halloween. This topic comes up in social media every year and everybody gets very wound up. But in Mebane, North Carolina, Halloween is on Halloween.
Thank you, Mayor Hooks and Chris, for joining me today. I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Chris. Remember, Mebane, stay positively charming. Thank you.
And have a safe and happy Halloween, everyone.